Scrapbook of Celbridge. We now introduce a short documentary film of local interest. Photography, script, editing has all been done by local people, all amateurs. We would like to thank all who helped. Ardclough, which means Church of the Bridge, now called Celbridge. Our hometown, a picturesque old world village on the banks of the Liffey, where you and I have spent the greater part of our lives, without perhaps realising the historic associations of the scenic beauty which surrounds us. Here we see the main street on a Sunday morning. Some people go to church, others go to Dublin, a short 12 miles away. This is St. Patrick's Catholic Church. Beside it is the Convent of the Holy Faith. It is built of the same stone as the church. Travelling further up the street, we come to the parochial house with its beautiful lawns and well-kept gardens, stretching down to the banks of the Liffey, and beside it is the presbytery. The grounds on which these two buildings stand were given to the parish by the Connolly family of Castletown. Christ Church, Celbridge, built at the end of the 18th century. The original church was in T Lane. As can be seen, this building was intended for a spire. It was taken down in 1820. Castletown House, the home of the Connolly family. Simonstown Stud, recently established and becoming one of the most famous in the county. This splendid looking animal is Beausobrère. Oakley Park, for some years the home of the Mansell family. This building on the grounds is the beautiful new school built by the Christian Brothers and now owned by the Brothers of St. John of God. Celbridge Abbey, built in 1695 by Bartholomew von Humrick, father of the famous Vanessa. It was here that Dean Swift came to pay court to Vanessa. The Abbey National School and Celbridge Mills. The children of the Holy Faith National School taking part in a May procession in the school grounds. This area was known as the Brewery Yard and the story goes that this is where Guinness started. In May 1954, these children made their first Holy Communion in Celbridge Church. The 20th of July 1954, one of the events of the season took place here, the wedding of Miss Sonia Ellis, Straffan House, to Mr. Niall Power Smith of Sherlockstown, Sallins. Here come the bridesmaids and train bearers. Now the bride on the arm of her father. The ceremony was performed by Reverend Father Malachi OFM, assisted by Very Reverend W.P. Byrne, P.P. Celbridge, and Reverend Edwin O'Connor, C.C. Outside the church door, a small boy presented a horseshoe to the bride. A guard of honour of huntsmen waited for the happy couple, and the photographers got busy again. Crowds thronged the church grounds and the street to join in wishing them Godspeed and a long life of happiness. In Celbridge too, we have a platoon of An Fórsa Cosanta O'Toole, or FCA as it is commonly known. We see them here as they assemble at the parade hall, where they change over from civilian to soldier, getting ready to go on a weekend camp. On Saturday afternoon, they travel by truck to Gormanston Camp, County Meath, where the time at their disposal is spent on military training. These lads take a keen interest in their training, as can be seen by their smart and soldierly appearance. Full advantage is taken of the fine evening and the military surroundings to do some realistic field work. The serious business is put on one side, and everyone has a break for lunch. Tea and sandwiches are enjoyed on the beach where the range is situated. Their main task this weekend, however, is firing on the open range. The battalion shooting team was 5th in the All-Ireland Championships, 1954. Good work, lads. The day's work is now over and dinner is served in the dining hall and it doesn't look as if there are any complaints. But all the good things must come to an end, and now we must take the road home, where the changeover from soldier to civilian takes place once more. (1955) A parish excursion was held every year, and people generally took a keen interest in the outing. Buses were provided to take the travellers to Hazel Hatch Station. The journey to and from the venue was just as enjoyable as to stay on the beach or the beauty spot or wherever. Celbridge FCA flag, presented by Mr. Barney Reynolds, Managing Director, Celbridge Mills. The force at that time was known as the LDF, or Local Defence Force, and started off as an auxiliary defence force during the emergency. Every year, the FCA all over the country are called upon to perform some ceremonial parades. The Military Guard of Honour, drawn from Celbridge Platoon, paid respects at the annual commemorative Mass for the deceased members of the old IRA on the second Sunday of Lent. The Mass was celebrated by Reverend Father McConnell, Maynooth College, and a large number of the relatives and friends of the old IRA attended. Sad memories rush over the minds of these men as they watch the young men of today do military training with the approval of an Irish government. Memories of the days when the Irish men trained in secret, when Ireland was occupied by foreign troops and police, when, together with other seas comrades, they risked their lives for their country's freedom. FCA activities are not confined to military training. Members and their friends frequently gather together for a social evening. These socials are very enjoyable and provide an opportunity for the young people of gaining a little experience on the dance floor. Each member of the FCA is allowed to bring 2 or 3 friends. We have heard that the Celbridge Development Association intend to provide facilities for dancing during the coming winter. This page of our scrapbook would seem that we've gone back 50 years or more, but no. This is a revival of an old custom well known in Ireland before the ballroom was ever heard of. No polished floors here, no dance shoes, no tails, no dicky bows, but a shining example of men and women, boys and girls, enjoying themselves in a homely way. In the words of the poet, where many a pastime circled in the shade, the young contending as the old surveyed. This particular function took place at Killinlee on every Sunday evening during the recent hot summer months. Organised by the local people, it quickly became the centre of attraction, and people from far and near were to be seen making their way to the crossroads dance. Travellers, as they passed, stopped to look on, and often left their cars to spend a half an hour or more taking part in the fun. And when darkness came, local cars could be seen throwing their lights on the proceedings. Local musicians relieved each other in order to keep the music going. But this is a summer sport, and with the approach of winter must soon stop. And what then? Dancing can only be held indoors, and we are glad to know that facilities will be available for this twice monthly. The Celbridge Development Association has applied for a licence and intend to hold socials in the town hall. This will fill a long felt want. We see the rain has come to dampen the spirits of the revellers and send them to shelter. But there's a silver lining to every cloud. Soon the party will be in full swing again. Here we see another type of summer recreation at Castletown Estate by kind permission of Lord Corry. During the summer months, this is a favourite rendezvous of men, women and children. The younger people enjoy themselves swimming and playing games, while the older people sit and watch. We may not realise it, but we have facilities here which are available to very few inland towns in Ireland. Admission to the riverside is free and very few rules to be kept. The parishioners turned out in huge numbers for the annual Corpus Christi procession, which this year took place on the 9th of June. At 8 p.m, the procession leaves St. Patrick's Church and passes along the main street on its way to the convent. First come the children of the parish in charge of their teachers, the children of Mary's Fidelity, and then a small number of children strewing flowers. Blessed Sacrament was borne on the outer journey by Reverend Father O'Connor CC, and on the return journey by Reverend Father Prosper of Oakley Park. The canopy was carried by members of An Garda Síochána, and a guard of honour was provided by the FCA. The procession was directed by the Very Reverend Father Byrne PP. At the open-air benediction in the convent grounds, honours were rendered by the FCA, and the salute to the Blessed Sacrament was sounded by a trumpeter and bugler from the Army School of Music. The FCA in a military parade in Dublin. The FCA members stayed overnight in Collins Barracks, and they assembled on the square on the Sunday morning and marched through the city. The salute was taken at the City Hall. As can be seen, Celbridge is only a very small group of the main crowd. The parade is taking place, accompanied by every FCA unit in Dublin. The parade is led by No. 1 Army Band, and it was called the McKee Clancy Clune Commemoration Parade. These parades are considered ideal for the training which is necessary. Weekly parades, field days, and weekend camps are also part of the routine. 2 weeks in a military barracks can also be done when pay and allowances, the same as the regular army, are paid. the official opening of the new school at Oakley Park, now known as St. Raphael's. The new building was blessed by the Archbishop of Dublin, Dr. John Charles McQuaid, and officially opened by Dr. T.F. O'Higgins, then Minister for Health. Representatives from all walks of life in the area were invited to attend. Oakley Park House was built in 1724 by Dr. Arthur Price, son of the Reverend Samuel Price, Vicar of Celbridge and Stratton. Oakley Park was once known as the Eagle's Nest, as there was an eagle on one of the gateposts. The reception was held in the dining hall for the visitors. Another sporting event in Castletown grounds, the local athletic club hosting the Kildare Cross Country Championships. The entries numbered over 60 and of course came from all over the county. The winner, however, was a member of the Defence Forces from the Corry. Another big day for the children, Confirmation Day. The celebrant was Dr. Dunn, Assistant Bishop of Dublin. The centenary of St. Patrick's Church was celebrated on the 2nd of August 1959. His Grace the Most Reverend J.C. McQuaid, Archbishop of Dublin, presided at High Mass, celebrated by the Very Reverend John McLaughlin, PP. The foundation stone of the new church had been blessed on March the 15th, 1857, by Dr. Cullen. Mass was celebrated for the first time on the 19th of December, 1858. The architect was Mr. J. J. McCarthy, who had designed many churches at that time, among them Maynooth College Chapel. A number of the surviving curates who had served in the parish since it was built attended the celebration. The church was built from donations by all the people, most of whom had a very low weekly wage, and the donation of a penny each went to the building of the church. Every parishioner paid 1 penny, and it now stands a fitting monument to the parishioners. The Church of Ireland parish church called St. Machua's. There are a number of stately homes round Celbridge. Donacumper House was built on part of St. Wilson's land. St. Wolfson's Secondary School, recently opened by the Sisters of the Holy Faith. This area is steeped in history. A monastery dedicated to St. Wolfson was founded here in 1202. The monks lived here until 1536, when it was suppressed by Henry VIII and given to the Allen family. There were a number of owners throughout the years, and the sisters bought it in 1955. The present house in St. Wolfson's was built in the 1700s. The River Liffey flows by the house. The secondary school caters for both day and boarding pupils. This the famous weir that directed water to Celbridge Mills. This year we saw the introduction of a new interest in the life of the parish. The Sisters of the Holy Faith presented a drill display. And we even had a preview of the Warriors of Tomorrow. The large crowd enjoyed the sport, and I think the children enjoyed it even more. activities of the evening finished with a grand finale and a community chorus. On Sunday and Monday, the 29th and 30th of May 1955, an air display was held in West Nairn Row. This was the first of its kind in Ireland for over 20 years. The proceedings were opened by Antonista Mr. W. Norton, who was received by the chairman of the Ardclough, Mr. Barry Eoghan, and Captain T.M. Ryan. The event was a huge success from the point of view of the spectators and the organisers. And to start the flying programme, one of the fleet of Vickers Viscounts from Aer Lingus thrilled the spectators with an amazing display of low flying. This was followed by the formation flying by pilots of the Ardclough, and a feature of this was the varied type of craft used. One of the highlights of the day was a spin by Miss Rosemary Kennedy in a tiger moth. This young lady learned to fly when very young, and now has the distinction of being the youngest holder of a pilot's license in Ireland. An exhibition of gliding aroused great interest. Here we find all heads turned skyward, looking for a parachutist who landed safely. And now we come to Stratton, which is in the same parish as Celbridge. This is a sports day. When we look round, it seems as if every person in Stratton is here. There was quite a varied programme: football matches, athletics, golf, children's races, something for everybody. The most interesting event of the day was a schoolboys' football match. This is a walking race which started in Celbridge, and the competitors walked to Stratton. Another event of the day, a baby show. Some are very serious looking. There will probably be plenty of jealousy over the results. Here we see Father Callan, who was a curate in Celbridge and is now back on a visit. The prizes for the event being presented by Father Callan's successor, Father Eddie O'Connor. We also had an Irish dancing competition. The competitors in this were from all parts of the county. The majority of the prizes, however, were won by Stratton people. Here we see a visiting group giving an exhibition of dancing. Stratham village, even more picturesque than Celbridge. Stratham Catholic Church. Stratham Church of Ireland. The Stratham people are making use of the River Liffey in the summer months. The weir there was for directing water into a powerhouse for Captain F.B. Barton, who was the first to have a private ESB supply. The County Kildare Ploughing Championships, which were held in Stratham. Even that long ago, we had the ladies taking part with the men and doing an equally good job. Another curate in Celbridge, Father Corbett, is seen here arriving in Stratham. This is a May procession. The procession goes down the village and then returns to the church. As can be seen, there's a big attendance of all age groups. Now they go back into the church. And now back again to sport. Another football match refereed by Father Corbett CC. After a well-earned rest, the second half is on. Some of the ladies are taking more interest in the match than in the camera. Look at that for excitement. Here we see another May procession in Stratham. All age groups take part, including the small children and the children of Mary's Fidelity. We're back again at the sports day, and the women are providing the refreshments. Here we have a view of some of the prizes to be presented at today's events. The wheel spins, and who will be the lucky winner? We end a bonny baby show. Tomorrow's world, a future generation. Now we must close our scrapbook. It may be open again in the future, who knows?